Welcome to Song of the Ox. This is Kate Moore. I'm a composer, and I'm on a pilgrimage route. This is the beginning of the second leg. I wanted to tell you all a little bit about the concept of my pilgrimage and why it's relevant. So far, I've been working sort of in collaboration with Waterwalks, with Ludwig, where they've been tracking my route. And Waterwalks, the concept behind Waterwalks is that artists from different disciplines observe the environment in relation to water in one way or another. And this is very relevant to me because I see water as the lifeblood of Earth and our existence, and also the telltale sign of a healthy environment. Also in relation to being in the Netherlands, where water is also an ever-present danger of overflowing and flooding, and in relation to the bushfires in Australia, where there is no water, and therefore the land so parched and dry sort of spontaneously combusts. So the entire land at the moment, as we speak, is burning, and the animals also burning. And this is a very traumatic experience for all of us, not just those who are experiencing it firsthand, as many of my friends have evacuated their homes, including my family. The idea of the I think they say that more than 1 billion animals have burned now, and it's inconceivable. I can't even grasp this concept. So in order to grapple with these concepts of water as a lifeblood for a healthy environment, the juxtaposition of fire and flooding, and the tragic burning of the creatures is what I am thinking about while I'm walking. It's sort of like a meditation. It's also a way to bring focus. I try to tune myself into the land where I'm no longer separated from it. As I walk, I try to carry as little as possible. I try to imagine or try to become a creature, I guess. I think about the creatures as they carry nothing themselves. They don't need to because they know their environment. They know how it works. They're not separated from it. And by walking, I become a creature. There's also there are aspects of my life, or the structural life of being in a society, that bring up a lot of questions for me. One of which being, as an artist, how is it possible for me to engage with the environmental catastrophe? I'm still finding this way. I don't believe that art and artists are irrelevant in this. I think that they hold a key part and a key component. And I'm going to come back to that. That's something that I'll come back to. The question comes up of whether artists need to become scientists, or in order to engage with the environment, whether modern science is the only way. I come across this a lot as an artist. When I want to engage with the environment, people want me to have numbers to measure, to work in a way that is in line with a modern scientific way. And although I see the value in that, I'm not sure that it's the only way, or in fact, I think this is important, but it can only work in collaboration with other disciplines, art being one of them. I think of the analogy as being perhaps a little bit like, think about the environment like it is a living creature. Think of it as like a friend. That if you met someone for the first time, the way to get to know that person wouldn't be by prodding them and measuring them and sticking chemicals in them to see what color the chemicals turn, or something like that. And that would be the modern science approach way of measuring a friendship somehow. It doesn't make any sense. But if with the land, you need to befriend it. At first, be aware of how you feel in the land, whether you feel threatened or whether you feel comfortable. How you can sort of communicate with it. If it was a person, you would sort of tune into their body language to know how they're feeling, to have empathy for the other person. You tune into them somehow by listening to the story, listening to their stories, seeing their body language, seeing how they react. And if you're really in tune, then the land also asks you questions and does the same to you, as a person would. It's very curious how that happens, and that is sort of where, when you're on the road, these things happen, which is sort of a little bit magic. And then it's very easy to sort of say, well, they're miracles. For want of a better word, they kind of are. I can't really and perhaps it's just that you find things which sort of are like treasures, and quite often they're very small things, but they're so meaningful. It's almost like the land or the way or the time or the moment is speaking to you personally, because those moments would not make sense to anybody else but you, and you happen to find them on your path. It is a miracle. I am interested in that more and more, the way in which you can feel the land, the way in which you can befriend the land, and by learning its language, it can speak to you. By speaking to you, you can know whether it's okay, what it needs, what its traumas have been, what its past experiences have been, what will make it better in the future. So as I tune in and prepare for the next leg of the journey, which will be very different from my Dutch leg, I enter England, and the route that I'm taking, I imagine it as sort of following or reimagining a medieval trade route, or perhaps even pre-medieval, pre-Roman even, just a very ancient trade route. I feel an affinity with it because these are the places that I know from my own experience. As a very young person, your first experiences stay with you for a long time. And these become very, like, sort of a core part of who you are. Even the catching of the ferry across the channel from England to the Netherlands, or in this case from the Netherlands to England, is very meaningful for me. The first time I did this trip, I was 4 years old. When I went with my parents, it was the first time I went to the Netherlands, the first time I met my Dutch family, and I still remember it very, very vividly. I remember the cabin as well very vividly. So it's a very, very special experience to do this once again. This is the first time I've had a cabin on a ferry since I was 4 with my parents. And it's exciting. So to continue with my journey, I just wanted to let you know how it's been and how it's going to go. And I'll be making more videos along the way. So tune into Song of the Ox. You can find me on GoFundMe /f/song-of-the-ox, or you can also find me on www.waterwalks.nl, or you can go to my website, which is katemoore.org. All right, so I'm signing off, and I'll see you around.